we are back on the record. There is an evidentiary issue that we need to resolve before our next witness. So, Mr. McCready, if you would like to proceed with argument that you have on that, you can do that.
Judge, the issue is the 404B notice that we provided and what is its scope in regard to this particular witness. Obviously, the purpose of the 404B notice is so that the defense is understands what type of evidence we are seeking to admit and has the chance to to meet it. As we were preparing for this witness, a couple of things became apparent. One is that our notice did not specifically say, we talked about arguments between Dale and Dee. Madison Wolf would testify that she saw many of these arguments, but one in particular, Dale had his hands on Dee's upper arms and was shaking her. So I guess our first point is that in terms of, and also I would say that that piece of evidence, that fact, was in the Michigan State Police report regarding Madison Wolf, so that has been in the evidence and in the discovery for over a year. And my argument would be that that is part of the argument 404B notice that we provided. Is it a more physical argument than the others, but it would still fit under the rubric of an argument, a face-to-face argument between Dale and Dee. The second issue is that she would also testify that about 6 months before Dee went missing, she saw a bruise, a mark at Dee's hairline, consistent with the testimony of Stephanie Vocal, who testified that it was about that same time frame and the same spot on her head. And that was specifically part of our 404B notice, that Stephanie Vocal would testify to that fact. So again, the defense is on notice that that kind of testimony would be elicited under 404B, and we think both of these instances would fit under at least the general understanding of this is the type of evidence that we are seeking to admit, and it would be under the same theory that we had argued that the 404B evidence was admissible under, and that the court, at least in part, ruled in our favor.
Thank you, Your Honor. The court is well aware of the notice, and number 3 in the notice indicated that Dale and Dee regularly argued in person and via text. There's absolutely no mention of Ms. Wolf anywhere in the notice. They do reference other individuals, including Ms. Vocal. So when we responded and filed our motion to conclude, and then the government filed a reply to that, we were able to specifically pinpoint what individuals had said in their interviews, as well as under oath in the case of Ms. Vocal. So to just say, well, there's a number 3 says they regularly argue, does not put the defense on notice that Ms. Wolf would come in and claim that she saw Mr. Warner holding Ms. Warner's shoulders during an argument. Likewise, for the mark on her hairline, the government specifically mentions Ms. Vocal, but noticeably precludes Ms. Wolf. And so given that Ms. Wolf is about to testify, and essentially we were notified of this morning, and that was part of what we had discussed in chambers, I would ask the court to preclude that. Late notice, unfair surprise, and unfairly prejudicial to Mr. Warner. Thank you.
I would just also indicate that the motion was for both the statute 768.27B and the 404B under the Michigan Ordinance.
Okay, so both the statute 768.27B and the Court Rule 404B require notice of the other acts that the people would like to present evidence about. So the question first is whether the notice in this case was sufficient with respect to this incident. And in looking at the people's notice, they listed, I think, 8 separate things. Some of them were general categories. Others were specific incidents with respect to specific people. And at this point, the people are requesting to admit evidence with respect to a specific issue which I think would qualify as an act under 768.27B, indicating that they provided notice in item number 3, Dale and Dee regularly argued in person and by a text. I don't think that that notice is sufficient to give the defense a real understanding of what incident was the people are trying to admit under that category. It's a general category. It doesn't make any reference to any specific incident. It doesn't make any reference to any report, although it is disclosed in a report. It doesn't make any reference to any report to tell them what we might be talking about or who even might be testifying about it. So I don't think that the notice was sufficient to cover this incident. The court is allowed to reduce the notice period if there is a showing of good cause. I don't think there has been a showing of good cause in this case, and so I don't see a reason to reduce the notice period that is required. I also believe that allowing this evidence without notice, which defense was not made aware of this until this morning, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 hours ago at this point, I think that impairs their ability to prepare their examination of this witness, and so for those reasons I would indicate that the Ms. Wolf's testimony cannot include the incident of the grabbing, shaking, whatever that was. With respect to witnessing the bump on the head or the goose egg, my previous ruling on that was that that was simply an observation of the condition of the person, and it was admissible without respect to either 768.27B or 404B, and so I think that that is admissible for the same reason it was with respect to the other witnesses.
Very well, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, are we ready to bring the jury back?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
May be seated.
All right, the people may call their next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People called Madison Wolf.
Ms. Wolf, I ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury?
Yes.
Okay, you can go ahead and sit down. Please try to keep your voice up as much as possible so that we can all hear you.
Good afternoon. Please tell us your name and spell it for the record.
Yes, my name is Madison Wolf. It's MADISONWOLF.
And do you go by Madison or something else?
Maddie.
Okay. And did you know Dee Warner?
Yes.
How did you know her?
I started working for her back in 2015, I believe. I was like a personal assistant and a nanny.
And how old were you at that point in time?
16?
Okay, so still in high school? Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to say yes or no. Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
And, I mean, how did you even know Dee at that point in time?
So I started 4-H. My parents had separated, so I was trying to find something to do. And then during 4-H, she needed someone to work for her, so I introduced myself, and it kind of just went from there.
And what kinds of things did you do?
I watched Alina. She kind of had different tasks for me to do. I'd work in the office, I would clean the home, go with her, get groceries, stuff like that.
Okay, and what kind of a schedule? Was it just random, or did you have a set schedule?
She was really good with working with my schedule, but it was like a Monday through Friday thing.
Okay, so every day during the week you're over there?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
And what about weekends?
I would go over and hang out with her on the weekends.
Okay, so did you develop a personal relationship with her then?
Correct.
And tell us about that.
She was like a mom to me. She really stepped up when I needed somebody, so.
You indicated your parents were going through a divorce.
Correct.
Okay, did Dee kind of step in then?
Correct.
All right. And so would you do things, besides just at the house? Like if they went on vacation, would you watch the house or what would you do?
I did go on vacation with them to Disney.
Okay, once or more than once?
Just the one time.
Okay. And when you watched Lena, what kinds of things would you do with Lena?
It just depends. Like we would cook, we would bake, we would go outside. I would take her to the store, stuff like that.
Okay, and would you do things just with Dee?
No, it was usually with Lena too.
Okay. Oh, also with Lena?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what kinds of things would the three of you do?
Shopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the big one?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you feel like you were close to her?
Yes.
How would you describe her as a person?
Very loving. She would back you in any situation possible. Kind-hearted. Very strong woman.
Okay. Would you describe her as tech savvy?
Not necessarily. I mean, she wasn't really good with electronics. I tended to help her with a lot of that.
Okay. Passwords. How was she on remembering passwords?
Not good at all. I actually memorized most of her passwords because she would get logged out.
Okay. Did you ever drive in the Escalade with her?
Like ride in the Escalade?
Correct.
Correct.
About how many times? A couple times or almost weekly or what?
Weekly.
Okay. Did you ever see her use her phone for navigation?
Yes.
And do you know what kind of app that she would use to navigate?
Just the Apple map on
Okay.
the phone.
Did you ever see her use My Cadillac for navigation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever see My Cadillac even on her phone?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And how many hours do you think you would be at the Munger residence on a normal day, like a normal weekday?
It depends. Like I would go to school, I'd get off at 3, I'd hang out there until maybe 7 or 8 o'clock, and then sometimes I would stay or sometimes I'd go back home.
So sometimes you would spend the night?
Correct.
Okay. And was that just a random thing, or would there be specific instances where you'd stay the night?
It started off when I would just watch Lena, and she'd be going out. I would stay with Lena, but then it kind of just sometimes I was just staying to hang out.
Okay. You mentioned shopping was a big event. What would you do with the purchases when you got home?
Sometimes we would leave them in the car, or I would take them up through the attic and put them in the one of the rooms upstairs.
Okay, which car would you normally take?
The Cadillac.
And where would you park it when you got back, normally speaking?
In the garage.
Okay. And so sometimes you would leave the purchases in the Escalade?
Correct.
Why would you leave them in there?
Objection, speculation, and hearsay.
If you know for your own personal knowledge.
From what she had told me.
Is that how you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I will move on. You said the other thing you did was to take them up through the attic, if I got that correctly?
Correct.
And what does that mean?
I would go through the garage up to the attic, so Dale wouldn't see the purchases.
Okay.
Objection, move to strike based on hearsay and speculation.
Okay, I agree.
All right, so I'll sustain the objection and strike that answer, direct the jury not to consider that.
Could you just tell us, without what anybody said, what you actually did when you went through the attic?
I would walk up the stair. I would open the door, walk up the stairs, and then I'd have to go through another door to get to the house.
Okay, and this was with the packages and the things that you had bought when you were shopping?
Correct.
Okay, and what would you do with them? You took them up through the attic. Would you leave them in the attic then?
No, it would go into a bedroom.
In which bedroom?
The one with the pool table,
Is that the first floor or second floor?
second floor.
And access to the attic, where was that? Where would you get to the attic from?
So when you went up the stairs, there was like
Where do the stairs start? I guess that's what I'm asking.
from the garage or from the inside of the house.
So where would you access them after you get out of the Escalade? Where do you go?
Yes. So in the garage, there was 2 steps to get into the house. Instead of going through the door straight, you would take the door to the left, and then there'd be like a staircase up that way.
Okay, so you could get to the attic without going into the house, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, and that's the way you would go.
Correct.
Perfect. Did you have a chance to observe the state of Dale and Dee's marriage?
Yes.
How would you describe it?
In the beginning, I didn't know them that well, so it seemed like it was okay. And then over time, you could see that it was more of like a business-oriented relationship.
Okay. What kinds of things did you observe that made you make that conclusion?
They were always arguing about money,
Okay, and how often would you say always was?
weekly.
Okay, and you observed these arguments?
Correct.
All right. Did you observe Dale trying to touch Dee,
Yes.
and what was her reaction?
You could tell she was grossed out by it. Just kind of, I don't know.
Objection, based on speculation.
Could you yes, I'll ask a different question.
All right, so sustain.
Could you describe exactly what she would do?
She would pull away.
Okay, thank you. Was there ever talk of divorce from Dee?
Yes.
All right, and how often?
She would bring it up quite a bit to me
Okay. And was this over the whole time you knew her, or what?
in the last 3 years before she went missing.
Okay. And did you observe them arguing, you said?
Yes.
Can you describe how that went?
It was more like Dee talking about a situation. She had a very stern voice when she talked, and then Dale would kind of just sit there and listen, and then sometimes he would get upset.
Okay. And can you describe, so what Dee was doing, can you describe that in physical terms?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. I mean, you say that Dee seems like the initiator of these arguments. Mm-hmm. What would she do?
She talked with her hands a lot.
Okay. And can you tell us what she did with her hands?
She'd usually have them up or point and stuff.
Okay. And you said Dale was calm at first?
Yeah, he would just kind of stand there with hands down.
Okay. And did you see him sometimes act in a way that wasn't calm?
Yes.
And describe that.
There was one time where he had grabbed her shoulders. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
So to the police, you used let me move on from there. Sorry. Did you ever see Dale talking in a way to Dee that you didn't like?
He would talk he would almost yell stern, if that's
Okay.
what you're asking.
Yes. Explain that.
I can't remember a specific what word for word what was said. It was just more of a very stern to yelling.
Okay. Would he call her names?
Not that I can recall.
Okay. Did he call you names?
Depends on what you mean by names.
Okay. What did he have a nickname for you that you didn't like?
Objection, relevance.
It's relevant to their interaction.
The issue is the relationship between Ms. Warner and Mr. Warner, not Mr. Warner and Ms. Wolf.
Well, if she was present for arguments and this was happening in that context, I think there is some relevance, so I will overrule that objection.
Okay. Did he have a nickname for you that you didn't like?
Yes,
What did he call you?
Fluffy.
And what did that mean to you?
I used to be severely overweight, and so that's something that he would call me.
Okay. And what does fluffy mean?
There was a comedian, a Hispanic comedian, that he would refer it to.
Okay. Did you ever use the, do you know what the sleeping arrangements were between Dale and Dee?
Yes.
What were they?
Most of the time, Dee slept on the couch, and
Okay.
Dale would sleep in the bedroom.
And what about Lena?
She would start in her bed, but she always slept with, like, in their bed.
Okay. Was there ever a time when Dee showed you an injury that she had in her on her head?
Yes.
Okay, and can you describe the injury that you saw?
It was a bruise / bump on her head.
Where was it?
I can't remember which side, but it was like either around like this side or this side.
Okay, so you're saying both at the hairline
Yeah,
on one side or the other of her head?
correct.
And do you recall, in relation to when she went missing in April, how far before that you saw this injury?
I can't recall at this time.
Okay. Were you aware that Dee would leave the Munger residence for periods of time during their marriage?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Were there times that Dee packed up and left?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know whether she would leave Lena or take Lena with her?
She would take Lena, and there was a few times I would go with her.
Okay. And the times that you didn't go, were you aware that where Dee was?
Sometimes, I mean, we always didn't communicate like daily, but yeah,
Okay.
like I should rephrase later on, like yeah.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
So when that started to happen, it was more like later on when I was going to like college and stuff before.
So it came to a point where you were going to college and you weren't around as much?
Yeah.
Okay. And when was that?
I graduated 2019, so fall of 2019, but I still, COVID happened, so I came back and worked for them.
Okay. And right up to April of 2021, were you still working for them?
Correct.
When was the last time you were there working?
I believe it was that Wednesday before.
Okay. Now, did Dee ever tell you about any kind of extramarital affairs she may have had?
Yes.
And did she tell you the name of a person or more than one person?
Yes.
Okay, and who was that?
Rob Brisky.
Okay. And do you know how long that affair lasted?
I don't know, like, date to date wise, but at least a year.
If I showed you your Michigan's, the police report from the Michigan State Police, would that refresh your memory as to?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks.
Does that refresh your memory?
Yes.
Okay, when was it
January of 2020.
that it ended?
Yes.
Okay. And did you see in yourself, not from anything anybody told you, did you see how he was listed in Dee's phone?
Yes.
What was he listed as?
His name was Michael in her phone.
Now on Saturday, the 24th of April, so you had worked that Wednesday, so I'm talking about that Saturday. Did you get a text from Dee in the afternoon on Saturday?
Yes.
And do you recall the general subject matter of the text?
Yes.
And what was that?
She had gotten a text, I believe, from Terry, Nyrick's girlfriend. It was just a very nasty text.
Okay, I'm going to show you people's 87.
Thank you. Yes, I remember this conversation.
Look.
Yes.
What is it I just showed you?
That was a conversation between Dee and I.
All right, and that part of it is that she forwarded you the text from Terry?
Yes.
The girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay, and over text was Dee explaining to you what her reaction was to that text?
Yes.
All right, and what was her basic reaction?
She had been throwing up.
Were you at the property at all on Sunday the 25th
No.
or Saturday the 24th?
No.
Did you find out at some point that Dee was missing?
Yes.
What day of the week was that, if you recall?
Sunday.
At some point after Dee went missing, did the sheriff call you in to watch some of the body cam?
Yes.
And approximately how long after she had gone missing did you go in to watch the body cam?
From what I can remember, it was the day after my birthday, so May 10th.
Okay. So she went missing in end of April, and so, all right. And do you remember which sheriff's deputies or detectives you met with?
Yes.
Who was it?
I believe it's Detective Grea.
Okay. And do you remember what body cam he had you watch?
It was just like throughout the house. He wanted to see if I saw anything misplaced.
Okay, and the date of the body cam? Like what day was it from?
I don't recall the exact date, but I know it was in that week.
Okay. So you watched the body cam from that day, and it was, tell us what you saw. Like in terms of what was happening in the body cam. Was it an interview or was it walking around?
It was walking around, but then Dale also was in it as well.
Okay, and where did they go in the body cam, if you remember?
From what I remember, it was the kitchen, and then it kind of went to their bedroom.
Okay. And was the sound on?
No, he was very specific to tell me not to turn the sound on.
All right. And did you make an observation that you then relayed to Detective Grea?
Yes.
And what did you tell him?
It was, the image was Dale, and it looked like he had burns or scratches on his arm.
Okay. And that stood out to you?
Yes.
Had you ever seen Dale with a burn like that before?
No.
All right. That's all. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wolf. My name is Marissa Vinsky. I just have some questions for you. So with starting to work for Ms. Warner in 2015, you worked for her for about 6 years, is that right?
Correct.
And you talked about how she was like a mother to you. Would you classify yourselves as best friends?
Yes.
You testified on direct that Ms. Warner had been discussing the topic of divorce for about 3 years prior to her disappearance. Is that right?
Correct.
You told Detective Grea that essentially the whole time that you knew the family, she had wanted a divorce. Is that accurate?
Are you able to show me where that's
Yes,
at?
I can. It's going to be page 30.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you'd agree with me, it says that you essentially the entire time that you knew the family, Miss Warner wanted a divorce.
If that's what the document says, then yes.
Is that what the document says?
Yes.
On April 24th, 2021, the government talked about text messages with Miss Warner. Do you recollect that?
The day of.
Correct. The day before she disappeared, April 24th, you had a text message exchange with her.
Correct.
And Miss Warner essentially, due to this argument, said she just couldn't handle it anymore. Do you remember that conversation?
Was that in the text messages?
Yes.
Yes. Then.
And when she said that, you really didn't read into it at all because that's stuff that Miss Warner would often say, correct?
Correct.
Miss Warner, she would mainly sleep on the couch when you were there.
Correct.
And she also would drive around to the different farm fields to make sure Mr. Warner was there, correct?
Correct.
She would snoop by going through his things.
Can you give me an example?
When you were with Miss Warner, she would go through Mr. Warner's items and go through his things and try to figure things out.
Do you have like an example of that?
If you look in the document in front of you, page 29, you told Detective Grea that Miss Warner would snoop by going through Mr. Warner's things. It was on page 30, so I believe if you just flip it over, it should be page 29.
Is it what else is highlighted as well?
Yes, it would be a highlighted portion.
Thank you. On page 30, the only thing that's
It's
highlighted.
29, sorry. Flip it over.
Okay. Yes, thank you for showing me that.
Yeah, so Miss Warner would go through Mr. Warner's things, correct?
Yes.
And can you give me an example of what you meant by that when you said that?
I was given a checkbook in Dee's name that Dale had and also a cell phone. That was Dale's.
When you were around Miss Warner, she would drink. Is that correct?
Yes.
She would drink every day?
Yeah.
There were times when she drank too much where she couldn't drive.
Not all the time, no.
Correct. There were times when she drank when she couldn't drive.
Correct.
And you actually had to pick up Lena from school because she couldn't go pick her up.
Can you show me that where that's at, just to refresh my memory?
Miss Saylor, will you play the interview with Billy Little, GAAM 31, from 23:17 to 24:26?
Thank you. Let me know when you get here. Okay. Thank you.
So Miss Warner would have you drive to pick up Lena because she could not drive due to drinking.
There was one time, yes, and she would ride with me.
The cell phone that Miss Warner gave you, that was Mr. Warner's, what did you do with that?
She told me to keep it, and then I gave it to I believe, Detective Grea.
At the time you met with him on May 10th?
I believe so, yes.
Miss Warner would always walk to the office, is that correct?
Can you refresh my memory?
Yes. Do you still have the document, the police report in front of you for your interview with Detective Grea? It's going to be on page 30.
Yes, if it was nice outside, she'd walk.
When the last year that you were with Miss Warner, not only would she walk to the office, but she would walk many places.
What do you mean by many places?
In your words, she would walk everywhere.
Well, if she was gonna go check on like the employees, and there's a barn right next door to her house.
She would leave her house and walk to various places. Is that accurate?
Is that what I said in an interview?
Yes, it
'Cause
is.
I'm not recalling that.
No, that's okay. I can refresh your recollection. It's going to be the Billy Little interview that you had just listened to from 4657 to 4713.
Thank you.
Does that help refresh your recollection?
Yes,
You said that Miss Warner would walk everywhere.
due to her fitness, yes.
So she would walk everywhere.
In that last year, yes.
And then finally, you had testified about seeing a bruise on Miss Warner's forehead. Do you remember that?
Yes.
When you met with Detective Grea on May 10th, 2021, that was about 2 weeks after Miss Warner had disappeared, correct?
Correct.
And you never mentioned that bump at all on her forehead in that interview to him.
Okay.
Is that true?
I don't remember the full interview.
You can read the police report if that would help refresh your recollection. The interview's probably 55 minutes. So would you believe me if I said that you did not mention that bump at all?
If I did not mention it during that interview, then I did not mention it during that interview.
Okay, thank you.
You indicated that Dale had Dee's checkbook, is it? Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you explain that, how that happened?
I don't remember the situation play by play, but that she had found a checkbook in her name that he had.
Objection if this is based on hearsay. So unless she witnessed this, and then it would be personal knowledge.
This is just responsive to the questions that the defense was asking.
I understand that, but I don't think there's a foundation yet for this information to know how she knows. So
Okay.
I think we need that before she can answer.
All right. Do you know, other than detailing you?
Correct.
Okay, it's just from detailing you, that's the only way you know this information?
It was so long ago, I'm not 100%.
Okay. And when you said Dee walked everywhere, are you talking about around the Munger farm, or are you talking about other places?
After listening to that audio, I remember that in the last year, she was starting to get into like fitness. She wanted to work on her body.
Okay, and where would she do that?
She would walk down to the office, sometimes around the house, and then to the barn where the employees worked.
Okay, but all these places are on the Munger farm property?
Yes.
Okay. And then in terms of Dee drinking, was that during a period of time or the entire time that you knew her?
I don't remember, like, I don't believe it was the full time, no.
Okay. Was this something that stuck out in your mind as Dee has a problem?
It did get to a point, yes,
Okay, and during the whole time or just a certain period of time?
a certain period of time.
And which period of time would that have been?
Around when she said, like, she wanted a divorce.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I don't have anything, Your Honor.
All right, if counsel could approach, we have some questions. All right, so we have received 5 questions from the jury at this point, and it's my understanding the attorneys agreed to asking 4 of them and omitting 1. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's correct. Thank you.
Okay. So the first question is, did you ever witness Dee remove her wedding ring after fights with Dale?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Did Dee discuss helping Terry with a divorce and any issues that arose from that?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
You mentioned burns or scratches. Can you describe these exactly?
So the video footage wasn't really like super clear, but you could see that there was like almost like burn marks on both of his arms. I don't know if that answered it.
Do you know if Dee had a history of sleepwalking, and did you ever witness Dee sleepwalking?
I never witnessed her sleepwalking, and I'm not sure about the other part of the question.
Okay. Mr. McCready, any follow-up to that?
Yes.
I just need to plug back in. Okay, I'm going to show you what's been introduced as People's number 74. This is body cam video from the Monday. Does that look familiar to you at all?
Yes.
What is that?
That's what I had saw in the video on his arm.
Okay, and had you ever seen anything like that previously on Dale's arm?
No.
All right, thanks.
Ms. Wolf, was there a time that Miss Warner thought that she lost her wedding ring after a vacation to Florida?
Yes.
And that's because she chose not to wear the ring during the whole vacation?
That's not what I heard.
I don't want to get into what you heard. Obviously, it's hearsay. So you remember a time when she thought she lost her ring after a vacation in Florida.
Can you rephrase that? Because only part of that is something.
So
that
I
remember.
just asked you if you are aware of a time that Miss Warner thought she lost her ring. So I'll break it up there.
Yes.
I was gonna end it there.
And nothing further. Thank you.
All right, may we excuse Ms. Wolf from her subpoena at this point?
Yes.
All right, so you are free to go, and you don't have to report any further. If you want to come back and come in court, you're able to do that if you wish.
Thank you so much.
Okay, it is approximately 20 after, ladies and gentlemen, so we're going to break here for today. We will resume tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. or as soon thereafter as we're able to bring upon some court hearings that the court has. So I'll ask you to be back just shortly before 9. Thank you, I do. It's sitting right here in front of me. I appreciate that. All right, so yeah, a couple of things. So first, I'll just remind you at this point, again, you're not to be talking to anyone about the content of the trial, not talking to any of the people involved whatsoever at all. Additionally, during the trial, do not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about this case. Under the law, the evidence you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instruction. And thank you again. And we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Okay, so we have had 2 questions today that were not answered. Obviously, the one were not asked. Obviously, the ones that were asked were read on the record. It would be my normal practice to read the questions that aren't asked outside the presence of the jury so that there is a record of those. I do acknowledge I haven't done that yet with a couple of others. So I will go back through those tonight, and we'll put those on the record maybe tomorrow morning. But the 2 that were asked today that were not, the 2 questions we received that were not asked. First was Brian Bush said he paid for the tracker, and Stephanie Vocal said she paid for it. Will that be verified in the future, or are we to assume they are both telling the truth and decide for ourselves? Again, all counsel agreed that that was not an appropriate question under the Michigan court rules. And the second question is, did you form any opinion of what you thought may have happened to Dee? And that was the question for Ms. Wolf. And again, all counsel agreed that that was not an appropriate question to ask under the rules of evidence. Anything else we need to address on the record before we adjourn for the evening?
There's only one issue. So we've had 2 witnesses, Ms. Wolf and Ms. Vogel, who have testified, albeit briefly, to things that run afoul of the court's evidentiary ruling. Moved on pretty quickly by the prosecutors, so didn't object because it just highlights it even more. But we do have a few more lay witnesses, so I would just ask the government, if possible, be really clear with them as to what they can and cannot say. once we start building on inappropriate comments, we have to start making decisions on how much the jury is hearing that they should. So I would just wanted to state that for the record. Thank you.
All right. Anything else from the people?
No, Your Honor.
No, thank you. And I'm not the people, but from defense.
Understood, thank you. All right, so we will resume tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Again, we have some sentencing hearings and things scheduled for 8:15, so for those of you coming into the courtroom, please be mindful of that. There's very likely something going on the record, even if it's quiet and it doesn't look that way. Sometimes we're just waiting for something to happen, so I appreciate your cooperation with that. All right, so we will be in recess.